Hello dear viewers, welcome to Geonodes daily series where we do something cool in geometry nodes and we try to do it as fast as possible. And also welcome to the third part of this mini series where we will recreate this awesome SciFi reactor that you see here. It's a great opportunity to learn a lot of stuff about how you can use geometry nodes. I want to recreate the entire project and also want to make every part kind of a standalone. So we did so far two parts. One creating a breakable crate, the other one creating a pile of crates that can be broken individually. And today we will focus on how to assign random materials, as you can see in this finished project that, by the way, you can download from Gumroad, and you get something cool to play with, and also you get the chance to support this channel. Also, thank you very much for all of you that are supporting this channel by subscribing, liking the videos, commenting on them, and all that good stuff. This is the finished project. As you can see, you have a ton of controls here that are exposed for you. You can control the breaking effect by playing with this empty and increasing its size, so you can get something like this. You can also play with another effect, the exploding effect. You can make everything explode, and you can play with the orbs that are inside of crates and create all sorts of cool effect. And of course you can control all these parameters that you see here. But for today we will focus on how to add a random material to a pile of objects. You can do it for this project or you can do it for any project, because this become important as your projects become more complex. You have to decide how you go about creating something like this. So let's switch to material preview, and let's say we want to assign a material. We have this set up from the first two parts, and we can use the material set material, plug it here, and let's use something that was created before, a simple principal BSDF, a blue material. It's very easy to assign a material to all the parts, but let's say that we want some of these crates to have a material and other crates have another materials. How will you go about that? Well, if we put everything at the end, we have this mask. So let's say we want to do something random. By the way, this method is gonna be complicated. I'm just gonna show you why it's complicated, then I'm gonna show you the easier way to do this. So let's say we do a mask with a random value. Now we can control the material assignment at face level. So if we would want to isolate each and every crate, we will have to play with the ID of this random node to decide what faces get a different random value and which faces get the same random value. So that would mean to do some math, something like snap, and then you have to increase the snap value, and as you can see, more and more faces start to get the same value. And at some point you can get something like this, where a crate has a certain material and another crate has another material and so forth. But in order to do this, the math gets a little bit complicated. I did some tutorials on that. You have to find out in a procedural way how many faces each crate has and do that snap thing for that, and then the math gets even more complex. So that would be the complicated way, and sometimes there's no getting around that. But for this project we can do it. So what am I talking about? I'm going to show you in a moment. You have to think your approach. So you have this stuff that it's starting with this crate here. So if we mute this node, we get everything gone. We have this crate, and then we generated a piling from this crate. So you have to think about where you want to place your setup in order to make it actually work. So if so far we discussed about the placement in the node tree, we will have to decide the placing right now, and that's what we are going to do. We will do a separation of the geometry at a certain point. So the easiest way to assign individual materials to each crate is to find a point where we don't have a geometry, like this mesh you see here, where we have a lot of vertices and faces we have to deal with and do math on it. It's a lot easier to do it on instances. And if we go at this point, we see that we have a certain number of instances, and that's exactly what we want. Because if we assign material on an instance level, the math will be a lot easier. So like I said, we will need to separate this geometry, these instances, into pieces, and that will allow us to achieve this effect that we want, meaning to assign different material to different crates that at this point in our geometry nodes tree are just instances and not a bunch of faces and vertices that are kind of tough to deal with. So this may be a little bit long-winded, but the idea is to find the simplest solution to your problem, and that means going back in time in your node tree. And that's the beauty of proceduralism. So if we want to separate the geometry, let's use a separate geometry node that can be set to instances. And if we separate things, we will want also to get it back. So let's do a join geometry. And now if we take a material, set material, and we plug it here, let's duplicate it and plug it here as well. We can select different materials for our mesh. So let's do something like this, for example. As you can see, we still have only one material because this separation did nothing. It still needs a mask. So let's use now a random value on this one. And that will be basically the third point. Switch this one again to Boolean and plug it here. And as you can see, we already start to have the thing that we wanted. So now some parts of the crates have a blue material and other parts have a green material. And if we want more materials, we can just duplicate this node, plug it here, and then do this joining again, duplicating this and setting a third material here, let's say the orange one. And of course, we can duplicate this node, plug it here, and now some of the crates will have this orange material. So that will be the gist of how you can do this. But I want to show you something else before finishing this, and that will be how you can expose these parameters, because we didn't do this until now. Let me just quickly create a frame for this and give it a name. This will be material assignment. Excellent. Now we know what this group of nodes does. So let me put this one here, and we can add now a group input node, plug it here, and I like to be sure that I can easily find this one. So I'm gonna give it a color. And what I want to expose is these two values just by dragging it here. And now in the same side menu, if we go to the group tab, we can rename this. Let's say we give it material 1 name, and you can give it any name you want, and material 2 name. And now if we go to our stack, we selected this geometry node setup. We have these two parameters exposed, and we can control how the materials are spread. You can also control the minimum, maximum, also the type of data, and you can write a tooltip, something. And when you hover over this value, it's going to give you that tooltip. And those are all things that I do for the final project that you can find on Gumroad. I just want to quickly show you how you can expose some parameters in the modifier stack. So thank you very much for watching this video. In the next part, we will look at how we can create 2 rows of piles by using the same setup that we have here, and also make it so it's not looking like it's the same thing duplicated. That's gonna be very cool. Until then, happy blending and have a nice day, and hope to see you in the next tutorial.